The first time you run EstiMate, you will see this screen, which is called the Welcome Wizard. It is a 5-page wizard that walks you through the basic setup necessary to use EstiMate. The first page is where you enter your shop's name and address. Enter this information exactly as you want it to appear on an estimate. When you are finished entering one field, press the Tab key to move on to the next field and continue entering information. If you want to move to the previous field, you can hold the Shift key down and press Tab, and that will move you backwards among the fields on the screen. Using these navigational keys, Tab and Shift-Tab, work throughout the program to allow you to move from field to field and back again. Once your shop's name and address look exactly the way you want them to, click on the right arrow at the bottom of the screen to move on to the next page. The second page is where you enter your hourly rates. EstiMate has 2 hourly rates that it uses, one for design, or the time spent at the computer and/or the drawing board creating the way the sign will look, and one for production, or all other tasks related to actually making the sign, installing it, etc. A very powerful tool EstiMate offers you is the Overhead Worksheet. This worksheet is accessible by clicking the Overhead Worksheet button underneath the hourly rates. It is important to stress that this worksheet is optional, but will help you figure your hourly rates if you're not sure what you should be charging. The first thing to do is enter in the box at the upper right corner of the screen the number of hours your shop can bill clients for during the course of the day. We recommend a starting point of 6 hours per day for each full-time production person in the shop. For example, if you and 3 others work all day making signs, you should multiply 4 by 6 and enter 24 hours in this box. The reason for not entering a full 8 hours is because every employee will have interruptions, lunch and cigarette breaks, etc. throughout the day. The next box is where you enter the days per week that you work. Most shops will set this to 5 days, and some will set it to 6. The third box is where you enter the number of weeks you work in a year. Most shops enter 48 weeks and allow for 4 weeks of vacation time. The fourth box is where you enter the percentage of labor you wish to see come back as profit. This percentage will be added into your calculated hourly rate. The 33 boxes below are where you enter your various overhead expenses to tell EstiMate what it costs you to be open during the day. By adding these figures together, EstiMate can figure out exactly what you should charge per hour to cover your overhead expenses and make the profit you wish to make. The descriptions next to these boxes are merely suggestions, and you can enter whatever you wish into these boxes. A special note: if you use this screen, be sure to erase the $6,400 you will find in the lower right box on this screen. This figure is how EstiMate comes up with a starting hourly rate of $48 per hour. When you are ready, click the Calculate button and you will see the hourly rate recommended by EstiMate. This figure is optional and is intended to be a starting point to teach you where your hourly rate should be. If you'd like to print this screen to fill out later, simply click the printer icon and it will print for you. When you are finished, click the OK button, the green check mark in the lower right, to transfer this figure back to the hourly rate fields, or click Cancel, the red circle with a slash through it, if you wish to discard your changes. When you are finished entering your hourly rates, click the right arrow to move on to the next page. This page is where you enter your local sales tax rate. You can enter a description the way you want it to appear on estimates, and you can enter the percentage charged in your state or province. One important note: if you are planning to use EstiMate to transfer transactions to QuickBooks, the name of your sales tax account must match the name of the sales tax account you use in QuickBooks in order for your sales tax to flow into the proper account in QuickBooks. Once you have entered your sales tax information, click the right arrow to move on to the next page. This page is where you enter your production seed value, which is a fancy name for the value EstiMate uses to figure out how fast you work, or in other words, how quickly your shop can make signs. On this screen you are looking at a drawing of a 4x8 sign. The question to answer is how long it will take you to cut, weed, and apply the vinyl on this prepared sign blank. We recommend a value of 1.5 hours for this figure. After talking to thousands of sign shops, we find that this setting works best for most shops. When you are finished entering your production seed value, click the right arrow to move on to the next page. This screen is where you set your market levels. The market levels are how EstiMate figures out the price of signs in your particular market area, or in other words, how much you get for particular types of signs. The first sign it asks you about is a 3x8 banner on 10-ounce banner cloth with hems and grommets that says Grand Opening. The idea here is just a very basic one-color banner. Adjust the slider here until the price you see is close to what this type of banner would sell for in your town or city. After talking to many sign shops, we have found that a setting somewhere between 45 and 55% works best for most shops for vinyl signs. Once that is done, move on to the silk screening market level and the digital printing market level, which adjust the pricing for these items in your market area. Each has a question to answer just like the vinyl signs question, and you adjust the slider in just the same way. If you don't know what the market levels should be, simply leave the sliders set at 50%. This will price the items in these areas using time and materials only, as the market level is the perceived value factor in your pricing. If you move it below 50%, EstiMate will take away from profits, and if you put it above 50%, EstiMate will add to your profits, all in an attempt to match your area's pricing. After all these are set, click the OK button to close this screen and save your configuration. That's all you have to do to set up EstiMate. In the next two sections, you will see how to import your existing customer list from another program and how EstiMate comes preloaded with a large number of materials so you can get started pricing immediately.